Hello everyone, my name is Sean Murray, also known as MegaX4. Today I'm going to actually be bringing you a podcast all about some music that comes from video games. So you see, video games have a different type of music, while also having the same kind of music you may come to expect from, music overall in the world. Different video games have different types of music, of course, just how different types of songs have different types of genres. So, first up, I want to talk about a series that's very near and dear to my heart, and one that's been here for me for a while at least. And this series is called Guilty Gear. Um, Many people may know Guilty Gear as a fighting game created by Arc System Works in 1997. Um, Recently, it's become a worldwide phenomenon when it comes to fighting games all over the world. It's known for its amazing graphics and its overall outstanding gameplay, with a new game in the series coming out early 2021. So, without further ado, I'd like to get on to our first song, which is Keep the Flag Flying from Guilty Gear X2 Reload. And this was as most Guilty Gear songs, as all Guilty Gear songs, composed by Daisuke Ishiwatari, who is also not only the composer for the games, but also the art director, the actual game designer, and game director. So he made the original Guilty Gear all by himself, which is no easy feat to make a game all by yourself in the year 1997. So, let's get a move on. Here's the first song, Keep the Flag Flying. All right, so that was song number one, "Keep the Flag Flying" from Guilty Gear X2. All right, so that song, not only does it have an importance to the story of Guilty Gear, but it really goes to show that you cannot base all video game songs based alone on hearing something like a beep boop beep boop bop 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 noise that you heard from a Game Boy 20 years ago, which has become a stereotype for video game music. Um, what this really shows is that even in the year like I believe Guilty Gear X2 came out around 2003. It goes to show that even in 2003, especially in 2003, when CD disc formats for video games were really just starting to pick up and go crazy on the PlayStation 2, Nintendo GameCube, and Xbox and Dreamcast, it really shows that the music had also come a long way, proving that um, you know a song doesn't have lyrics. It doesn't have to have lyrics to be a song that can impact somebody. So, um, this song is also important to the plot with how the main characters, Soul Bad Guy and Kai Kisk, they would always have battles while they both served in the kingdom's military. Um, so yeah, it's important to the plot of Guilty Gear, which is quite amazing. If you ever want to check that out, it's always wonderful to try one of the games. If you're not interested in the fighting, then just the story is enough to get you involved with the game. It's truly an amazing game. Now on to our next song. So next is a song from one of my absolute favorite games of all time. I'm sure by now many people have heard of the game Persona 5. Released in 2017, the game was released to worldwide acclaim and was a contender for Game of the Year in 2017 in North America. Um, what can I say about Persona 5 that hasn't been said already? Its visuals, its aesthetic, and most of all, its music leaves nothing to be desired. It is a near perfect role playing game. Um, and really, it's one that can emotionally impact someone too, with its diverse storytelling that's different from many forms of storytelling in the past that we've seen. The game and its music have really impacted myself as well as many others. So, now let's talk about the music. The music, which is, you know, what can I say? It's amazing. It's nothing short of amazing. It's just straight up amazing. Um, it's been inspired by jazz. There's a lot of jazz and blues in this song. You could really feel it. So the wonderful and quite amazing thing about this game is that keeping tradition with the past two Persona games, Persona 3 and Persona 4, there have been vocal tracks for the battle themes, the overworld, specific character themes. It's all really, really. It comes together. It comes together to help fit the theme of a rebellion inside your heart, as is provided by the story of Persona. Um, story of Persona is one of rebellion, one of giving hope to those who can't manifest hope in themselves, in order to just change society for the better, in order to create a good world for anybody and everybody. So, what song to what song would be better to show how things can change than the song "Life Will Change," composed by Shoji Meguro and sung by the talented Len Inaizumi, who has provided her voice for not only Persona 5, but for its various spin offs, including the soon to be released in North America Persona 5 Scramble and Persona Q, the second one, I believe, as well as being featured in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, the best-selling fighting game of all time, in a remix track of "Beneath the Mask," which is another song from Persona 5. So, um, let's get into it. Here we go. All right, so that was song number two. Life will change from Persona 5. So, Persona 5 and Life will change. Life will change is an amazing song. It always plays when you are um going to steal the heart of one of the enemies in the game, one of the major enemies from the palaces that there are. Um, just to give a brief summary, um, in Persona 5, you are the leader of a group called the Phantom Thieves, who steal hearts from crooked individuals in order to make them better individuals. And it's really a story about how the bonds you make with people, and the bonds that you forge with not only your teammates, but the people around you, to not only further your career as a Phantom Thief, to change society itself, but to advance yourself as a person, to show how one person who is wrongly convicted of something can change everything. So, um, once again, I need ref- um, to just say again that a song like this is not the stereotypical video game song that everybody thinks a video game song would be. And honestly, if I'm honest, I would have no problem just putting this on the loudspeaker on my car and blasting this at full volume because um, it's truly a great song. And honestly, um, I think Persona has one of the best original soundtracks of all time. Um, and the updated version, Persona 5 Royal, has even more songs, which is absolutely awesome. So next, we're going to get on to our next song, or should I say songs. Next is going to be Goodbye Isaka from King of Fighters 2000. So first, we're going to listen to the original version from the Neo Geo version, and just to give a little background on what the Neo Geo is, the Neo Geo is a arcade system released by the company SNK all the way back in 1987, I believe. Yes, 87, and SNK managed to keep their Neo Geo arcade machines going up until 2005, which is quite a long time, more than 25 years. Um, almost 30 to be in fact. Um, so really, with Goodbye Isaka, Goodbye Isaka is a song that's just, how can I say it? We're going to be listening to the original version from the arcades and the arranged version from the soundtracks. Um, but this song really it provides a feeling that um I'll use this as an example. Say you've lost in a fight and now finally you're at a point where you feel good about yourself, that you can take off from there and spread your wings and get right back up and fight even more. Um that's how this song can make somebody feel, just to put it in perspective. So this is the theme of Kyo Kusanagi, the protagonist from the King of Fighters series. Um, and this is from, once again, KOF 2000. This was composed by um, Shinsekai Gakyoku Zatsugian from, once again, KOF 2000. Just for little further reference, if you hear me call it KOF, that's the abbreviation. of King of Fighters. Um, there have been a lot of KOF games. Let's just put it at that. Um, it is KOF is a series that is hugely popular in South America and Japan and Korea. Need I say? Um, the best players tend to be from South America. Um, you'll see them everywhere if you go fight online on servers all across the world. You'll see tons of people from South America coming together to play the game. So without further ado, here is the Neo Geo version of Goodbye Saga. All right, so that was our second song, or third song, excuse me. Um, song song 3.1. um, so this version of Goodbye Isaka is actually, like I said, the arcade version. So, um, SNK, the company that created the Neo Geo, was working on 20-something-year-old hardware when they released King of Fighters 2000. So when they released KOF 2000, um, they obviously couldn't release a very detailed song on the system, but they still managed to release a song on the system that actually sounded like it could potentially be, it could have its own version that sounded better than it could be on the system, that is. And so, on consoles like the PlayStation 2 and Sega Dreamcast, they did release versions of this game, King of Fighters 2000, with arranged versions of the songs. And the re- uh the reason they kept going with these arcade machines, even in the year 2000, with an arcade machine that still not only ran on cartridges but was almost 25 years old, um, was one, they were very cheap to use and to set up, and two, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So that explains why this song had more of a chiptune feel to it, a more synthetic kind of beep boop bop 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 kind of thing that most people would stereotypically think of video game songs. So next we are going to move to the arranged version of Goodbye Saga, which is probably my favorite song from the entire King of Fighters series. So here we go. Well, that was our true third song, one might say. Um, and that was Goodbye Isaka, the arranged version. And that is probably my favorite version of the song, and probably my favorite song from the entire King of Fighters franchise. Um, and that's the theme of Kyo Kusanagi from King of Fighters 2000. Um, and even though the original version that we just listened to, the Neo Geo version, um, already sounded amazing, somehow this song comes along. SNK decides to make a arranged version of this song, and it blows people's minds. It blows my mind how the people at SNK, the sound team, the developers, they managed to make such an amazing song that came out on a arcade machine that was 20 something years old and then made it even better. So it blows my mind and it really shows that you know, it's a series with history and they can build on that series with even more amazing music. And they could build upon their history with music that goes beyond just the limits of, oh, this is just your stupid kind of, why would you listen to this video game music? So next is a song that I personally love, and it's from my favorite game of 2019. Um, and this is Devil Trigger from Devil May Cry 5. And sung by Casey Edwards featuring Ali Edwards, and was uh, made by Cliff Lorlet. And I cannot I cannot even explain how truly amazing this song is and how much of an impact it had on the release of this game. This has to be one of the most hype songs I have ever heard for the return of a franchise. So to give a little backstory, Devil May Cry is a hack and slash um, kind of action adventure game created by Capcom all the way back in 2001. And it was released on the original PlayStation and then got ported to other consoles via collections and re-releases. Um, and they released Devil May Cry 1, 2, 3, 4 over the course of 10 years. Um, but then, due to, according to Capcom, poor sales of Devil May Cry 4, there was a sudden decision that they were going to try and reboot the series. And this was kind of expected, but the reboot of the series, aptly named DMC Devil May Cry, was a total failure. It failed to encompass what Devil May Cry was, the personality that it had, and I will say the only good thing about that game is its music. Um, but back to the real Devil May Cry. The original Devil May Cry series was heavily, and I mean heavily, impacted by its music. Um, Devil May Cry 1 and 2 both had a sort of dark and it had sort of a techno beat to it a little bit, but that'll change. It had a mixture of rock and techno, but that all changed when Devil May Cry 3 came around. Yeah, it still had a little bit of techno here and there, but it focused primarily on rock and the music that not only accompanied the games, but the music that graced other things, other forms of media, such as the anime that Devil May Cry released. Um, it really shows how Devil May Cry as itself Um, it would be a great and memorable experience, but it would be nowhere as memorable as it was if not for the music. So, Devil May Cry 5 was an amazing return to form with characters people all knew and loved, including the main character Dante, who by now almost everybody knows, one of the most requested characters for Super Smash Brothers. Um, the other Devil Hunter, Nero, um, who ends up being his nephew. Um, and probably the most loved character in the entire series, Virgil. They all come back, and they're all perfectly. It's a return to form, and it's a return to culture. Devil May Cry is a series that has impacted a great many, has made tons of people pursue modding, programming, and even content creation for the games. Um, and it's really just awesome to see how far Devil May Cry has come and how far the music comes. Um, so yes, um, Devil May Cry 5 has main themes for all the three main characters, which are Dante, Nero, and a new character named V. Devil Trigger is Nero's battle theme, and kind of the theme of the entire game. It also reappears um, at the end of Devil May Cry 5 against the final battle against Virgil. Um, there it is called Silver Bullet, but here this is Devil Trigger. And I have no words for this song except let's rock. And jackpot. That was Devil Trigger from Devil May Cry 5, and I love this song and I love the game, and you couldn't tell, but the entire time that song was playing, I was bopping my head and tapping my foot because really, Devil May Cry 5 is a special game. And just the music they use encompasses the series history, as well as it's a whole mishmash of different music types poured into one song. Um, and it's really just amazing how one song can encompass how amazing one entire game can be. Um, and now I'd like to bring our attention to the final game, the final song we're going to be listening to. So the next game, and next song we're going to be talking about is a song called "Smell of the Game," and this too is from the series I mentioned earlier, Guilty Gear, and this is meant for Guilty Gear Strive, which actually releases early next year. And on the reason why this is on this list is because I personally have had the chance to play the game, and I can say, as of right now, while the game is still, I'd say, still a bit early in development, while also like halfway, early to halfway. Um, I can say that the game is shaping up to be something special, something different from the normal Guilty Gear, but something positively special. Um, so this is the thing about Guilty Gear Strive. Guilty Gear Strive was delayed to 2021 due to the results and unfortunate timing of the coronavirus. Um, but this also leads the game to be, have more music, more crazy stuff. Um, and this song is it really encapsulates how special Guilty Gear is to everybody, the impact it's had on the world lately since 2014, 2016, since Guilty Gear Xrd first released in the all over the world actually. Um, I can say right now that Guilty Gear is a special game to many. And the music is 100% something that drives that. With Guilty Gear Xrd, um, music changed from rock music and heavy metal stuff like that to rock and heavy metal, but also it added something that was probably needed, a human touch. Um, and yeah, the music before had a human touch, but by human touch, I truly mean singing. Um, this song really has an effect that makes you feel like nothing can stand in your way. To rise, like what I said with Goodbye Isaka. This song makes you feel that you can get past anything. This song is absolutely amazing. And even though we may not be smelling the game this year, in 2021, I can assure you that this game, its music, and a great number of amazing things are going to be coming with this game. So here's our final song for today, Smell the Game.
Can't you see I'm blazing? Still my heart is blazing. If the words kill me, I don't need a new world order. You, my tongue is my word. Your words will never make me disappear. That is bullshit blazing. Still my heart is blazing. If the words kill me, I don't need a new world order. You. Soon you will know. We already know the smell of the, know the smell of the, know the smell of the, know the smell of the game.
So that was our final song, "Smell the Game," and there's something magical about that song that not only gets the point across that one, this is a Guilty Gear game, but it reflects the characters in the game. It reflects the real world. It reflects a great many things. The words in the song, they specifically say if your words are not your own, if you're believing something that anybody else. Like, if you're believing the words of something indoctrinated into other people's minds, you're it's not your own words. It's not your own thoughts. It's not your own ideals. It's urging you to have your own ideals, to step out of the norm. Don't be, you know, a victim to this 24/7 media bullshit, you know? That's why it says that is bullshit blazing. Um and then it says that your heart is blazing. Your own heart. It's telling you, the one who's listening, the one who's playing the game, that you're the one who, even though you're a small part of the world, you mean something. Um, that you have your own set of ideals. You're much more than you ever think you are. And what can I say? It's a song about being yourself. It's a song about not taking no BS from anybody. And even though it's a game, it's a real song, and the lyrics do matter. And to anybody that might say, like, oh, I don't care about this song, the song doesn't interest me in the first 2 seconds, therefore it's not interesting at all, or somebody that's going, this is a game song, I'm never going to give this a listen because it's probably trash. I don't want to listen to something that a niche audience of people do. Listen, if video games were a niche audience of people, then they wouldn't have survived the gaming crash of '87. They wouldn't have half the freaking population of the world playing Fortnite or whatever. We live in a world where people play video games for fun. They do it for sport, and they do it to connect with people. And it's just the same as music. It's the exact same as music. Music and video games. I don't think at this point one could exist without the other. Because at this point, we're at a turning stone in history, or a turning point, whatever it is, where technology is changing the world. Music is changing the world. People are changing the world. That might be a good thing, that might be a bad thing. But don't let your words ever be somebody else's. Listen to the song, listen to the music, listen to your heart. What does the music make your heart say? That's what this song is trying to say. Um, I guess that could be a moral. That could be you know, something. But it's something special, and that's what Guilty Gear is to many. That's what music is to a great many. It's a way to, you know, for some, escape their problems, cause some problems. um, but in the end, for everyone who lays their hands on this game, it's about just going all out and kicking ass. That's what it is. It could be the most heavy metal thing in the entire world, or it could be something as soft as a lullaby. Video game music is music too. And it's different, yeah, but there's also a lot of similarities. So, video game music is just as important as the Britney Spears or the Taylor Swift or the Playboy Cardi or whatever the heck people listen to nowadays. It's the same exact thing. So, go out there and listen to music. Be yourself, and remember to always smile. If you smile at least once a day, listen to music at least once a day, I can tell you for sure that your world will be a whole lot brighter. So, everyone, with that, I'd like to say thank you for actually staying with me through this entire thing and actually listening to me, listening to my thoughts on this music, listening to these masterpieces of music that people put time, effort, and love into. And in the words of a great man, have yourselves a damn good one.